Another episode. First of all, did you miss us? We're coming to you live from downtown Homestead here. We just had an amazing night last night with National Night Out, downtown Homestead. We're trying to, again, revitalize our community. We see what they're doing out there, and we wanted to leave some crumbs for the next gen to look at. So I just wanted to say good morning to you all out there. Julio, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. We got a special guest in the building. This man has been a tremendous pillar in this community for such a long time. I know you're going to see him now, you're going to think he doesn't age at all, but this man, not only has he been in the banking industry for a tremendous amount of time, but he's also my frat brother, part of the best organization, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. For all of you out there, here we got today in the building, Mr. Willie Carpenter!
So,
good morning, guys.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to all the Omega brothers out there. And hope that you're watching. And Julio, you guys, thank you for inviting me. Look forward to answering questions and giving you some insight on my life and what I've done in the past 40 plus years at the bank and what I'm doing now in retirement.
Awesome. So, first and foremost, good morning to you. Welcome. Mm-hmm. Thank you for accepting the offer to come on our podcast, Come Downtown Homestead. You've been a part of the community for many years, and we think it was due time we bring you on and say we wanted to give you your flowers. Strange for men to say that, but we would like to say to you, thank you for what you have done and continue to do for our community. Julio and I said, you know what, we needed to reach out, and so let's give him his flowers. So we're going to talk about some stuff to try to drop some crumbs for the next generation. Simple as that.
Thank you. Can't wait to get started.
Understand that, sir. So, what they did to make it to where they are. So we wanted to say thank you, sir, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit and see what gems you can drop for the next generation on our podcast. That's strictly what our podcast is organically growing from. So, Julio, what else you can kind of tag here?
He's going to have a lot of gems for us because he's been through so much, and he's seen this city grow, and he's seen this city come from nothing to what it has become. So, Willie, tell us a little bit about when you started your career in the banking industry, and tell us also a little bit about how you got into the banking industry from your education at high school and college.
Well, actually, I got into banking. It was accidentally. I was playing minor league after I finished college. My goal was to play professional baseball.
I love that. Oh. I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you on that.
So I had an opportunity to play with the Texas Rangers in their minor league system. I played in their rookie leagues.
Yeah. I
skipped single A and played in double A. And I did that for almost 2 years. Unfortunately or fortunately, I got released. And, release means you're cut. Release means someone tells you can't do it anymore.
Right.
So that had been my lifelong dream to play sports. So I was pretty devastated with the news. And I came home and I was 23 or 24. So I had to make a decision that I wanted to continue playing baseball, or do I want to get a real job?
Right.
So I made the decision that it was time to get a job.
Right.
I had finished college, I had my degree. My degree was in health and physical education.
Okay.
Wow. Wasn't in business.
Right.
All right.
Because I was a jock. That's what jocks do. So my father knew someone. Well, my father's friend knew someone in the bank. And I had applied with City of Homestead, FP&L, Southern Bell at that time.
Southern Bell, man. Y'all remember Southern Bell?
This is 1980, right? Okay. And I applied with South Dade Senior High School.
Yeah.
So I got an offer with South Dade to come over and coach and teach. And I also had an interview with Community Bank at that time. Yeah. So I went down and I met with the president of the bank, who was Bob Epling at that time. The bank was very small.
Yeah.
They only had one branch, and that was on 288th Street. And and I'll try to make it. It's a long story, but you gotta tell me when.
Well, before you get there,
when to cut it
number
off.
one, we want to commend you for, first of all, making it to the professional level of baseball.
Yeah.
I can relate because I also was drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks, but that moment that you're drafted and you are now on a professional team, did you notice a difference of the camaraderie that changes from college to professional ball?
Well, I started out in rookie leagues. I said I went from rookie leagues. I skipped single A and went to double A.
So obviously they saw the talent.
Yeah.
Right.
And
What position, by the way?
Center field.
Center field. Okay. So he was fast.
And
But
I'm shortstop.
I had played when I was in college. I had played in 2 summer leagues. I played in the Valley League, which is in Virginia.
Yeah.
And then I played in Alaska. In Alaskan baseball. Alaskan baseball. There's 3 leagues. There's the Valley League in Virginia. There's the Cape Cod League in Massachusetts, and then there's the Alaskan. And Alaskan baseball was quote the top baseball in the country. So I spent 2 months in Alaska playing summer baseball. So I got the exposure.
You got to see a lot of the country too.
Right. I
Playing minor league ball.
I lived in Kenine. I played in Anchorage. I played in Fairbanks, Palmer, Hawaii. So to answer your question, it was yes. I got a lot of exposure with different players, but from different countries.
Yep.
In college in Western Carolina, it was all Americans.
It was all white boys.
Yeah, but once I got to, I was in Sarasota in the rookie leagues, and we had a lot of Dominicans. And I remember the Dominican ball players. Their favorite saying is that we don't walk off the island. We swing at everything. That's it. You can't walk your way off the island. You got to swing at everything. And those guys many were down to earth, and they helped me speak Spanish. I helped them speak English. But getting back to the banking. I was going to be a teacher coach. That's what I wanted to do. So when I met with Bob Epling, he was gracious enough to sit down with me, and he says, "Well, why do you want to be a banker?" I said, "Well, I don't want to be a banker." I said, "I have a job offer at the school." So we started talking, and he was a graduate of Furman University.
Okay.
And I was a graduate of Western Carolina. So Furman University and Western Carolina was in the same division.
Right.
And Bob Epling was a graduate of South Dade High School too.
Okay.
I was a graduate of South Dade High School. Well, not the same years as he was.
Right.
So we had something in common. And he said, "Well, I don't think you can make it in banking." And he goes, "Well, I don't think you can make it in banking because you don't have a business background. You don't have this. You don't have that." So something triggered in my mind that I had just been released from baseball.
Right.
Okay. So they said, "Well, you can't play baseball anymore."
I can't.
Now I go to him and he says, "Well, I don't think you can work in the bank."
That can't again.
Because when that happens, the only thing you really know how to do is hit a baseball. And that's all you know how to do.
Right. But the competitiveness of playing sports.
That's what that never leaves.
He was he's talking, and I'm thinking, really? Okay.
Okay.
So at the end of our conversation, he says, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, so maybe I want to work in the bank." He said, "Well, I don't think you can do it." He said, "But go home and think about it."
But he was already making you an offer.
And
in a way,
well, I don't know what he saw. So I went home and I thought about it. The more I thought about it, I said, "You know what? I think I want to work in the bank." So I called him up and I said, "I want to work in the bank." And I called the school and says, "I'm not going
to take the job."
And they says, "You're crazy." He says, "You won't make it. Your background is in education."
Right.
So I showed up and I didn't own a suit. They didn't even know how to tie a tie. Okay. So my parents bought me, and I can remember the ties I had. I had a green, a blue, and a brown tie. and it was the crochet material. That crochet
That's
material where you tie the tie here, and you gotta keep pulling it until it comes down here. Well, those are my ties, and I can remember like it was yesterday. They put me in a back room, and there was no ATM machines and computers and scanners.
This is 1981.
It's 1981. Okay, so I had to file checks in this big room, and it was called the sick desk. So that means that whatever checks that was missing, I had to find them. Like I said, there was no computer. So there was thousands of checks.
Okay.
And thousands of checks that if one was missing, I have to go find it.
Wow.
Manually.
So I said, I'm going to be the best check filer they've ever seen. And he says, we'll give you 90 days. I said, 90 days, I'm going to be the best check filer they've ever seen. So after 90 days.
That was your probationary period?
That was my probationary period. That was my tryout.
Right.
Okay.
It was like a Swiss horse. That was my tryout.
Right.
So after 90 days, I went and sat down with him. He said, what do you think? And I said, I think I want to be a banker. He says, okay, then we'll put you in a management trainee program.
Out the gate like that?
It's like that.
So I had to go back to school at night through Miami-Dade, taking all these business courses, accounting.
Right.
I didn't know what accounting looks like. Okay.
But after is it a safe assumption to say after being released and now having that opportunity at the bank, are you now more assertive, attentive to the education that you're getting?
Yes, because I felt like I was so far behind the curve.
Right.
You know, when you walk in there and you know nothing,
Right.
because at that time there was only savings accounts, checking accounts,
Right.
And I didn't even have a checking account. I mean, I had a savings. Excuse me, I had a savings account. Didn't need to have a checking account.
Right. Did you
And
balance your own book?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a passbook savings.
That's it.
A passbook account.
That's it.
And I felt like I was so far behind the curve, but every day that competitiveness told me I could do it. I could do it. So make a long story short, after a year and a half, and I always tell young kids, when you're young, you think you know everything,
Right.
and you don't know nothing.
Correct.
Well, I was young and brashy.
Right.
I thought I knew everything. I was going through these different departments, and I'm just gleaming your knowledge.
That's right.
Because I'm going to be your boss.
That's right.
I want to be your boss.
Right.
And I had this one mentor, Joyce Elmore, and I was going through these departments, that cocky attitude, that athletic attitude, and she pulled me aside and she says, she says, young man, she says, you're traveling down a dark highway on the wrong side of the road. And if you don't get your headlights on and you're on the right side of the road, you're gonna crash and burn.
A woman said that to you?
A woman said that to me. And that was like a splash
aha
of
moment.
cold. Think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it snapped like that. And from that time I said, you better straighten up.
Better tighten up.
That's right.
Get yourself together. So after a year and a half, almost 2 years, I get a call to come down to Mr. Epling's office, and they have their senior manager meeting, and I go down, and I'm thinking, well, that's it.
Okay. Lights out.
That's the ball game. You're gonna
You get released again.
yeah, that's exactly right. You're gonna get cut again.
That's
So Mr. Epling was very professional, and he said, Mr. Carpenter, have a seat over there. So I sit down, and he starts going through his analogies of sports. You have to be in shape, and you got to prepare. I'm like, I'm in the best shape of my life. What are you talking about?
I keep myself in fighting trim.
So at the end, he says, we have an opportunity. I'm thinking, who's we? That we want you to go down and manage our office in Florida City. And I says, Mr. Epling, I've never managed anybody in my life. I could barely manage myself. And you want me to manage people. He says, that's exactly what I want you to do.
You were completely honest with him.
Yeah. And he says, Monday morning, you go down to the Florida City office, and Tom Thrasher, our marketing manager, will meet you down there, and they'll work with you. I had a great assistant manager. She took me under her wings, and I started working from there. And I went from branch manager down there after a couple of years. I said, I want to work in the loan department. And Mr. Upton said, well, we don't have any openings for the loan department. And he says, before you can
Work in the loan
work in
department.
the loan department, you have to learn how to collect money. Okay? So fine. So after I'd worked down there during the day, and then at night I go to collect, because at that time you can't call at night anymore.
Right.
But during the 80s, you can call any time for collecting it. So I worked in the daytime, then at nighttime I went on my own and worked in the collections department, learning how to collect money.
Wow.
He was that phone call.
Yeah. And when an opportunity came available for the loan area, they couldn't tell me that, well, you don't have the experience, because I had the experience. And I went from there and worked in the loan department for 3 or 4 years, and then and all along I'm going to school.
But Willie, that upward mobility, your entrance into banking is not your traditional.
No, that wasn't, and that's what.
I mean, that's somebody, he saw something in you.
Yeah, right.
Because if you tell somebody, hey, just walk in the bank, and they're going to say, you're going to move up like this, it doesn't happen that way.
Not at all.
I think he saw that, what do I have to lose? If it works out, it's great for us.
Yes.
If it doesn't work out,
I just blame him.
I gave him an opportunity. But also, side note, there was a softball team. There's Community Bank, First National Bank, Barnett Bank, and it was another bank. It was Community Bank, Barnett Bank, First National Bank, and I think B of A. They had a softball team. And First National Bank, and Mr. Epling and Bill Losner was competitive. And First National had been beating Community over the years. So Mr. Epling says, I want you to, and I want to win. So I was thinking, well, if we win, I know I got a job. So
If you win, you win, right?
So we beat First National every year, and the winners would go to Capri, and the losing bank would have to pay for the dinner.
Pick up the tab.
And we beat them 3 or 4 years in a row, and they finally quit. But I think that was my job security. That I was the coach of the softball team.
I think maybe sometimes when you find common ground
Right.
with whoever your employer may be, that's going to give you one leg up on your competitors who are also going for that job. So you found some common, especially the colleges being close to each other.
Right.
You made a connection with Mr. Epling. And then he gives you an opportunity and you seized the opportunity.
Right. I always say that now, and I'll go back to how I finish up out in the bank, is that you're just looking for an opportunity. You're not looking for a handout.
Right.
The bank gave me an opportunity, and it wasn't a handout. They gave me an opportunity, and I took advantage of the opportunity, and I worked my butt off.
Right.
But as time went on, I went from working in the loan department, went back to working in the branches, and I ran a couple branches. And I had been at the bank, and the bank was growing a little bit. And I'd been at the bank for 17 years.
Yeah.
And I was the vice president. And I made the decision that I would leave the bank. And because I felt like I needed, it's like being at home with your parents. Can you make it on your own?
Right.
Can you step outside of your parents' home and make
That comfort zone.
So I told Mr. Epling I was leaving, and it wasn't because of the bank, but I needed to know if I was good as I thought I was.
Right.
So I went to work for Citibank, and I worked at Citibank for 2 years. Did well there. I thought I was going to be a Citibanker for life.
Yeah.
And I get a call from Bob Epling again, and he says, "Can you come down and talk?" I said, "Sure, I'll come down and talk." And he was building a business development at that time. Banks were not doing the business development, and he says we want to build a business development department, a section, and I came back as a senior vice president.
Okay.
And we built the business development area and was very successful with it. And
But after you hit all those home runs, now the price changed.
That's yesterday's price, right?
Yesterday's price, not today's price.
Because when I started, the price was below minimum wages. So yes, the prices. When I came back, the price changed. But I came back because, and I'll give the analogies that at Citibank, huge
conglomerate.
Right.
they would bake the cake, send it to you with the instructions, when to open it up, when to cut it, and how many slices to give to customers.
Right.
Well, coming back to Community Bank, I was going to be the person that
Baked
made
the
the
cake.
cake, put the ingredients in, put it out, and decided. So that was exciting, and that was one reason I left. And we did well, and my, I think about 36th, 37th year, lo and behold, our company's up for sale. And I think one of your questions on there was professionally, what was the most. Let me go back and tell you about education. I keep jumping back and forth.
That's okay. We'll let you have the floor.
I went back to school at night at Miami-Dade, got all the credentials, and then I went to University of Florida for 3 years, to Florida School of Banking. And every for 3 years you go for a week, and they would cram a semester
In a week.
and then you got 8 take-home problems
Okay.
that you have to submit. And if you don't submit them, then you can't come back. And then your final grades go to the CEO. So one of these things that you can go and goof off.
Right.
And following the Florida School of Banking at University of Florida, went to Graduate School of Banking at LSU in Baton Rouge. And that was, you went for 2 weeks.
So you were fully immersed in getting this education.
And I went for 2 weeks for 3 years. And they try to cram 2 semesters in.
But I want to know if the main reason for getting the education was you wanted the knowledge, or if they were going to promote you, would others in the bank say, "Well, wait a minute, why is he getting promoted? He doesn't have the right education."
Well, I didn't want them to use that excuse.
Got it.
You couldn't tell me that I wasn't qualified.
Right. No room for errors.
Okay. There was no room for it. When I'm sitting down and I'm interviewing for that position in the bank, it's not because of education wise. It was not because of experience. It had to be for something else.
Right.
So I got whatever courses or schools that was available, I went and I took those, because as I said early on, I felt like I was so far behind.
Yeah.
And it took me comfort level probably 15 years to feel like I was on par with them.
Okay.
And then once I was on par with them, it was.
I got a seat at the table now.
Yeah, smooth sailing ahead. And but as I said, the most challenging part was at the beginning of my banking career.
Yeah.
And also at the end of my banking career.
Okay.
Because at the beginning of my banking career, I didn't know anything. At the end of my banking career, that we were being sold to. At that time, it was Center State Bank, and Center State Bank was a community bank of, I think it was about $6 to $7 billion at the time. And as time went on, Center State converted itself and bought South State Bank and kept the name.
Okay.
And then South State just kept buying up banks and banks and banks, and it was.
Why is that challenging? Is it because it's like a new administration comes in?
It was a new administration. Until their credit, they gave me carte blanche to continue doing what I was doing, and I felt like I was very successful. But I was born a community banker. I was raised a community banker. And I was going to die as a community banker. And nothing was going to change me. That's the way I was raised up as a community banker. And as you grow, and banks get bigger and bigger, the challenge with them is that not to lose that community touch.
Right.
And I just felt like the bank was great. It was great to me, but I felt like I had reached the end of what I could contribute, and I didn't want to. And I use these analogies. in football, you don't want to be the player that the coach called in and said, you need to bring your playbook, or the running back to say that you used to be able to run that hole. You could see it, but you can't get there.
Right.
Or in baseball, you used to be able to hit the fastball.
Right.
You know, now the fastball. I wanted to be able to leave when I could hit the fastball, still hit the fastball.
Right.
I wanted to leave when I could still run through the holes.
Right.
So no one could tell me that he used to be good. I left when I was very good.
Right.
And
So
I
you left on top.
I left on top, and I was proud of what I accomplished at the bank, and I didn't leave anything on
the table.
I gave it everything I had there, and you know, as I said, after 42 years, it was I couldn't have imagined ever being in one career
That long.
that long.
Okay.
So that in itself, you know, it's a testament that you stuck in there. You went in there blindly, pretty much, not knowing anything about the system. You learned the system and became part of the system and left it in a better state, in my opinion, than when you first came into it. And you stayed true to it, and you remembered the community. Because one of the things I felt as a customer is that I loved the bank because it had that hometown feel. They felt, I felt, you know, they knew they had cookies and they had things. The bank felt comfortable to me for me to do my business there, and they remembered your name, and they would come around and bring you the little things, the little things that really mattered to us. So, tell us now. We're going to shift gear a little bit about you. We learned that the professional side. Let's see the softer side of you. We wanted to see. So tell me, what is it that, you know, who's Mr. Carpenter outside of the banking world?
Well, you know, outside of the tie, right?
Outside of the tie, like now, you know, because all our lives we saw you in a tie.
I see a lot of people in the community.
It's like, who are you? You know, they see you up, you know, you pull it with a, you know, you got, you got the chin strap, and you know what they call a chin strap? Is what they call it now. Yeah, so they go. I'm like, I've never seen that before. So
I
tell
enjoy being involved with the community. Over the years, I've been in a lot of organizations and giving back, because I felt like growing up in Homestead, Florida City, you know, there were people I looked up to that helped me along the way, that gave me wisdoms, that looked out for me, and I wanted to make sure that that if I was ever in a position that I was going to give back to the community as much as I could, and thankful to the bank too. The bank gave me an opportunity to give back to the community in a meaningful way, because I mean, you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. Amen. Sometimes we forget that our success belongs to other people that help you get there. So each day I'm not as busy as I used to be, and I don't want to be as busy as I used to be.
But they say when you get to that point, you're busier. Is that the case for you, or?
Well, when you're retired, people think you have a lot of time on your hands, and if you're not careful,
you will be really busy.
You'll be working again, and you'll be working again for free.
That will be yesterday's price. You were stuck there.
So you have to learn how to say no. I'm not going to do it. But yeah, community. I grew up in the community, seeing the community change an awful lot, and as I said, the community's been good to me.
Right.
And I want to make sure that I give back. And I know there's a question about favorite parts of Homestead. I grew up in Homestead, Florida City. Strange thing, but I grew up in Homestead, Florida City, but I never voted in Homestead, Florida City, because when I was old enough to vote, we had moved out to Leisure City.
Oh, okay.
On 297th Street.
Outside the city limits.
Yeah. And I was outside the city limits, and then when I got married, moved to Perrine.
Right.
So
then you were way out
I lived in Perrine, but I worked in Homestead. I spent all my time in Homestead. I just bunked.
Right.
It's at a house in
housing was
in Perrine, but you know, Homestead, Florida City has been good to me, and it's been a lot of changes, and some for the good.
Yeah. You know, Willie, to the young to the young people that are just coming out of college now, you'd be such a great person to talk to if they're thinking about getting into banking career, right? And things have changed so much from the way you got started. That story that you've told us on how you got started, that's one in a million.
Yeah.
And you
That's the old school way.
ran with that opportunity, and it's proven to be very beneficial to you. But you added value to that organization. But if a person were wanting to get into banking, because I'll tell you, my niece just graduated and she got a degree in finance, and she was thinking, maybe I want to get into wealth management or I want to get into banking. And for some reason in my head, banking is, you're going to start at the teller, and then you got to work your way up through the ranks and to me that just seems like a very long time. Well, so I wanted to hear it from you on what that trajectory looks like
today.
Perception. See, I have to start from the bottom and work my way up. And young kids don't have the patience anymore. I call it the micro syndrome.
You want to run down the hill.
Microwave syndrome.
Run down the hill.
When I have to be a vice president today.
Yeah.
Well, no, you don't have to be a vice president. You need to learn the foundations.
Right.
Learn the basic. If it means I start at an entry level,
right,
at least I got a good foundation,
right,
to work from. And at times they're not as patient.
Yeah.
I want it now.
You think technology did that?
Technology, yes. Yeah.
They won't put the damn phone down.
It's speaking of like technology, I used to give these young ladies and men that work for me when they would sign their names, and I said, "Well, what is that?" And they said, "That's my signature." I said, "Well, I can't read your signature." I said, "Do you know how to write in cursive?"
What's that?
I said, "Then I'm gonna." And these girls, I said, "I'm gonna teach you." I said, "You need to write your name in cursive where I can read it."
Right.
But I'm saying that.
How was your penmanship?
How's your penmanship? Because you don't have to write anymore.
That's right.
You can take everything and.
Yeah.
But you're not thinking anymore.
Right.
And critical thinking, we're getting away from being critical thinking about why, then just plugging it, just Googling it,
right,
because Google says it's right.
Right.
Then critical, and answer your question, yes, you might have to start at an entry level, but if you got the right mindset to start at an entry level and get into management trainee, and once you get in that management trainee program, then they train you.
Okay.
They train, and at the end of your management trainee, you decide on what areas through a collaboration with your trainee. And Michael went through the same thing.
Right.
Michael Welsh when he started.
Right.
Okay. Shout out to Michael Welsh.
Yeah, Mike.
Another pillar.
Mike
Another
was,
Omega brother as well.
Mike was the second black. I was the first black community, and Mike came in, and Mike was fresh off of undergraduate from the University of Miami, and he eventually got his master's at community, and he's still working there. So, he can probably tell you the same thing that he had to persevere through, starting in a management trainee program. And the advantage of Julio with the management trainee program is that you're learning all aspects of the bank. You're not a specialist yet. You're a generalist. A generalist means that I'm learning all areas. And I would prefer being a generalist than being a specialist, because if you're a specialist, you get pigeonholed. That's the only thing that you can do.
That's it.
You can't do anything else.
You get labeled.
But if you go through that management trainee program, now you got a basic understanding, and nobody can pull the wool over either.
Right.
And that's a great take back for her, right? One of those crumbs that now you hear, get in there at any level, learn the process, remember your why. Why? And what do you want to do with this?
Right.
And I think that she should just get in, As they say, get in where you fit in, and then grow from there. But at least she knows. So be encouraged.
I think that's a very good point. And she's got a job now in accounting, right? And I think when you're 23 years old, sometimes you don't really know exactly what you want to do yet. So you got to go through, just like at the moment where you said, you know what, I've done this. Let me go try Citibank. Let me see how that is over there. You did that. and you go, okay, I've tested the water. I've seen it, see if the grass is greener on the other side. And then you came back and did something. You did something that you enjoyed. So sometimes it doesn't feel like work. But I did want to ask, when they make you the president and they say, go run that bank down there, how do they measure your success? Is it just bottom line? Is the bank making money or not? You know, is that what they measure you on?
Mr. Upping would always say, when all things go bad, make money. So as long as you're making money. Well, we had goals.
Right.
And everybody has goals. And that's how you measure them. Right. They're written goals that you look at sometimes daily, sometimes weekly. And that's what you measure on. You meet your goals, and you have right attitude, right disposition, then you start moving. Because you can meet your goals and be a horrible person.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's, but yes, you have to meet those. They set goals at the end of the year. We had a planning seminar, and the bank has that. You got the overall bank goals, you got the division goals, you got departmental goals, and you got individual goals, and they all flow up.
That's right. Yeah,
being the only black man at the bank, knowing that you've got the education and that you belong there and that you're adding value, did you ever feel that you couldn't deal with some of the things that were going on and you just might walk out the door? Or
no, no, I never felt that way. Going back to my little league baseball days and senior league baseball in Homestead, Florida City, in the '60s, the blacks couldn't play baseball in Homestead.
No?
No. We could only play in Florida City.
Okay. You could only play on the south side of Maui.
Yes.
South of Maui.
So
was...
Mr. De Leon, Mr. Chandler, Mr. Nataro, Chief Asula, they started their own baseball league in Florida City.
Okay.
So in 1974, I was the first black.
Your thought? You want a twinkle in your mom and dad's eyes.
I was the first black to play American Legion baseball in Homestead.
Okay.
And at South Dade, 74, 75, and 76, I was the only black on the baseball team.
So that was kind of training for knowing how to navigate.
When I went to Western Carolina, for the first 3 years, I was the only black on the baseball team.
Okay.
When I played baseball in Virginia, in the Valley League, I was the only black on the baseball team. When I went to Alaska, there was 2 blacks and 1 Indian. In the town I lived in Kenai, Alaska, I was the only black that lived in it. So
it wasn't anything new to you.
It never. I never felt like I was had a disadvantage. When I work at the bank or I walked into a meeting, I never felt like I should not have been there, or feel like I was at a disadvantage. I knew I belonged there, and my attitude was that if you don't like it, then you should leave.
Right, right, right.
You know, but I didn't feel uncomfortable walking in any room or any organization, being the only
person of color.
Only person of color, and you know, in the '60s and '70s, Homestead in Florida City was a challenge.
Yeah, I've heard.
You know, it was a challenge to live in there. You know, you had dividing lines of Maori from Maori South, or you know, that's where the blacks were. So I got in on the. I was in 5th grade when they integrated our elementary school, A.L. Lewis, which is Laura Saunders.
Right.
And Laura Saunders was my principal. So I saw it, witnessed, you know, when you're in fifth grade, and saw what you know, the Mayor Wallace's and the Chief Rosen that they went through. And those were heroes.
Yeah, those are the pioneers, right?
You know, Mayor Wallace, I always say Mary Wallace and Chief Rowe, the FICO Williams.
Yeah.
Those people were heroes.
He laid down the groundwork.
Yeah.
FICO Williams, he stands out. I think that you see his plaque in Florida City there, and he's another one of them that I don't know if he's gotten enough flowers. In my opinion, this is only my humble opinion.
He mentored a lot of people over the years on rental properties. At the time when he came along, he was a pioneer in doing rentals and affordable apartments, because there was not even affordable housing there. So yeah, it was. I never felt like I was at a disadvantage, and no one was going to make me feel like I was at a disadvantage because I was the skin of my color, and I felt academic-wise, articulate-wise, as articulate as anyone else.
So you adapt and overcome as always, So now we've gotten to know you. We've seen that you're part of a program, especially. And one of the things I find there, you love to travel. I wanted to kind of lighten it up, and I know that in this, the bank had this. What is the Golden Circle? Who created that, by the way? Who came up with that?
The Golden Circle was created in like 1982, 83 at the bank. And,
so tell us about that.
It was a traveling club for our customers. You had to have certain qualifications, and they travel all over at a discount.
Right.
And you got not just traveling, but you got all kind of benefits of checking and savings, rate increases. They had their own party, Christmas party, had their own picnics. We had a Golden Circle.
That was the in club.
Advisor.
It sounds like a country club.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was a niche market.
That's the platinum card for American Express.
And it actually was a moneymaker for the bank too.
Right.
Obviously, the bank won't start a program if not.
Right.
And the last 15 years, that department reported to me.
Right.
But I never traveled with them.
No.
I never traveled. Not until my last 2 years at the bank that I traveled with them. But I paid for my travel. The bank didn't pay for it. Right. I was concerned about the perception of that's the department that reported to me, and now he's traveling all over the place with this department.
Huge conflict of interest.
I didn't want to do that. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have.
Where were they going? Europe?
Everywhere.
They went
Asia?
Everywhere. Is there any place they haven't been? I don't know.
In the last, I would say last 7 years, 8 years, I went to Ireland, Spain, Portugal. I went to Russia, Poland, Sweden.
That is a well-traveled man.
Denmark. I went to both sides of Italy. I went to South Africa, Johannesburg.
You've been everywhere.
Cape Town.
Like I said, man,
Nice,
an onion.
George. And we just got back from Europe about 3 weeks ago. We were in London, Italy, Paris, Venice, and Switzerland.
There you go.
Does that shape the way you think about life?
Yeah, I was talking to a friend, and I said, when you travel outside the United States, and
he's laughing because you're going to hear it.
The different experience of different cultures,
outside
it opens up your mind.
Yeah.
Because we at times we got a small-minded mentality, and what we think is the right way of doing things. But then when you go to another country and look at their culture, you have a different perspective.
See,
and even going from different states to states,
I agree.
It's different.
So, in your travels, as you see the state of Homestead and Florida City today, I know we learned from the past. We've seen it grown. It is where it is today. What is your view of what you see today? Because as we are growing now, and we're those guys now on the hill, looking back and says, okay, what do we do here? What do you see? Let's take it from someone who have done it. What do you see?
I think good growth. Grow just to grow.
Right.
I go back to the banking. and I always quote Mr. Epling, he says, you can grow to grow, but you want to have good growth. And my concern with the growth in not just Homestead, Florida City, just South Dade alone.
Right.
And when you look from 152nd, where the available land used to be from 152nd Street, now the most available land is where south of, I don't know, 211th Street or 216th Street, or maybe south of 288th Street.
Right.
And we're building and building and building, but there's no infrastructure.
Right.
You know, how do you, with the growth, how do you get the people out? I can remember driving down from Perrine in the mornings, driving to Homestead, and I can remember traffic on the people going north. It would back up at around the Shula, Killian Parkway.
Wow. That's far up.
Yeah,
It started creeping south.
that's where it was going north in the morning.
Right, that's where the bottleneck was, right there.
And then it started going down to 152nd, 184, Cutler Bay, 211,
Now it's
288. Now
Exit
it's
number 2.
Now it's down almost at the end of Florida City.
Yep.
So you gotta, if you work in Miami and you gotta be there at 8 in the morning, you need to leave no later than 5:15.
Yes.
If you leave 5:16, 17, that's it.
That's it.
So-
You're stuck.
We're building more homes and apartments, but where's the infrastructure to get the people out?
Just to stay local.
You've got the Turnpike, US 1, Chrome Avenue, and Rutland Road,
Wow.
and that's it.
Willie, we're the 5th largest city in Dade County, right down here, Homestead, Florida City. Obviously, whatever happens in Florida City affects Homestead, vice versa, right? So there's a lot of talented people down here, which you could see all of these people jumping on the Turnpike to go work up north because that's where they're going to go earn their living. So we've had this fight about infrastructure, and Demetrius and I have been talking about why can't we get the train down here, right? And that's a whole another political bureaucratic conversation, but maybe we ought to be shifting the conversation to saying, bring some better paying jobs and build commercial infrastructure here so we don't have to leave.
Yeah,
we don't have to go up there.
Bring manufacturing jobs up. I don't understand. I remember before Hurricane Andrew, we had the railroad tracks.
Right.
That was where the bus train is.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we decided that we wanted to take up the tracks and put a busway there.
Made no sense.
And now, maybe they might be putting tracks back down
Right.
there.
It's like we do it backwards, right?
Put the tracks back down there
That's
there
it.
again.
That's it.
I don't get it either.
So at the end of the day, you've seen the changes. Do you think now, today, currently, I mean, obviously, you consider still local. So the next gen that's coming up, most persons that leave school usually stay north or stay gone. They don't come back and they don't contribute back to society in any way, shape, or form. They come to visit, pop in and pop out. Like they said, oh, I live in Homestead. Oh man, you live so far south because really there's nothing here for you to say, let's go to Homestead to chill. You come here to sleep.
Well, and that's the people that are moving here is almost, they live here but they work somewhere else.
Right.
Well, you spend, like I live in Perrine, but I spend all my time in Homestead, Florida
Right.
City. And the same thing, they live here, but they spend all their time
Up north.
where their jobs and
Right.
and it's a challenge to keep young kids because just affordable to live. Where are you going to find a house or rent? What is rent? $3,000, $3,500.
It's up there.
Yeah.
And if you get a young kid that's coming out of college, they can't afford it, and they move back home.
Right.
That's why they're staying at home till they're 30 now.
Right.
Yeah.
But before,
Parents to get out, 18.
18 years old, go figure it out.
That's
And
it.
if you were to look at the